Hello, how's it going? My name is Gus. I'm the owner of Airstream Services, and I'm with Jared. Jared is our electrical department manager, and we wanted to just kind of get to know the managers so you can see, a little bit more insight in regards to the department and why we do what we do. Jared, so how long have you been the department manager?
About 8 months now.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
When did you start with the company, and what did you do when you first started?
3.5-ish years back in January. Electrical department specialist as starting out, which is just kind of training and estimates and quality control for the company.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. What made you come to Airstream opposed to like another company?
The first introduction to you on a phone call from an owner calling me just to have a conversation with me was a big part of me just being interested in coming in, and then the opportunity of electric vehicles and electrification and the scope of work that you guys put out to me was really interesting to me as far as my experience.
And you were kind of more in the commercial side of things before here,
Yep.
right?
Commercial and industrial for a long time.
How was that transition?
Yeah, tough, still tough. I mean, when it comes to residential, there was a mindset to it that was a little, that it was kind of the lower end of electrical, which in my 3 years here is completely changed. It's just a different facet of the whole electrification and as an electrician itself.
So we started you in the department specialist position, and you moved up to the department manager position, obviously because you're doing great, and we had a lot of growth within the company. How many people do you currently have on your team?
There's 5 of us, counting me.
Okay.
I've got 4 guys in the field doing anything from lights and fans to bidirectional flow systems and battery backup systems in people's homes.
And you currently moved out of the department specialist position, moved to department manager. Who filled your spot?
His name is Kyle Dolan. He's our electrical department specialist now that was just a younger kid that didn't have a lot of experience when he started with us, and has just he meets every expectation you can have for him.
He's awesome, man. We really like Kyle.
Yeah,
he's excelled. He's
yeah.
been with us how long now? I mean, he started fresh from school.
Yep, and he got here a month or 2 before me, so he was just kind of green and starting out when I started in, and he's just one of those guys that you give him a task and you just don't have to worry about it. He's going to have the right questions for the right situation, and he'll work as hard as he can to make sure it gets completed. I
really like us bringing young guys, fresh to the trade that are in trade school, and just molding them into the, the direction, the vision that we want from Airstream. For me, my number one goal is, are they honest, professional, with integrity? And are they coachable? Somebody that I can trust around my friends and family, because at the end of the day, they are going in our customer's house. So that to me is very important. But Kyle's one of them that checked all the boxes and has really excelled in his position. So he's been doing it for a short period of time, and he's just kind of ran with it. So
absolutely,
you can lead a horse to water, but you can't force him to drink, and he's drinking. So he's awesome. But so let me ask you a couple questions. We got a couple questions here for you. So what kind of training certification do you currently do with the guys, or to get them up to par? I know we have a lot of guys that are kind of newer, a couple guys that are from the commercial side of things, moving to residential. What is the kind of training that you focus on with them?
I mean, as we come into it, focusing on what their experiences is compared to where they're lacking. And, first thing we get into is just the standard, the code end of it, why we're doing things to code and what the reasons are. And then we have the electrification as far as the electric vehicle chargers and how that is. Vehicle chargers are one of the first pieces of equipment electrically that you can manipulate on what it does. And there's a lot to learn. Usually a piece of equipment has a nameplate and you just do what it says. This can actually be manipulated and stuff, and it takes a lot of training to get that to be done correctly and commissioned and everything through Wi-Fi and all that. So we do all that, and then it's just different in-house training as far as areas that are lacking on far as how everything works in a home.
Can you take me a little bit back? So you said I've talked to you obviously in the past. Jared has a quite awesome timeline of what he did. He was actually he was a bartender. He owned a bar, right?
I did.
At one point. How long did you do that for?
52 weeks to be exact.
Did you?
I'm sorry, 52 weeks in a year. It was 51 weeks. I Yeah, I owned it when I was 21 years old.
And then from there you went to HVAC, right?
Yeah, I bartended for a little bit outside of that adventure that I had, and bartended a little bit. Decided that wasn't a path for me, and ended up getting into HVAC and sheet metal work in my very early 20s, and was great experience. Learned that construction is the path for me. That I loved working and building and constructing things, and along the way, electrical just became something that I was really interested in, and I made the transition.
When did that happen when you decided electrical is what I want to do?
Yeah, I was right around 24 years old, 25 years old, and just being around the insulation of HVAC and a lot of stuff that I wasn't a fan of. And my dad is a master electrician, and everybody grows up not wanting to be their dad until you get into your 20s and you realize actually dad kind of has some stuff figured out.
Yeah.
And I had a wealth of knowledge sitting there that I could start drawing off of.
Yeah.
And I made the transition and went through an apprenticeship program out in California called WECA, the Western Electrical Contractors Association. And they kind of put me through a whole training as far as everything goes up until becoming a journeyman electrician.
That's awesome. So, we obviously, we've been doing electrical for going on 6 years now. We just this year, tell them about the award that we got through the Q-Merit Group.
Yeah, out of 3,000 plus electricians across the country. Q-Merit is an entity that exists nationwide that deals with electrification and electric vehicle chargers. And they have a system in place of basically who's considered the top of their department. And we had the highest score, which is a lot that goes into it to create that score.
So there's actually in the Q-Merit algorithm for the score, there's 60 things they take into consideration, and a lot of it is how fast you respond to it, how good you do on the job. Surveys go into play with that. And out of 3,000 of the top electricians through the whole nation, Airstream in his 5th year, going on 6th year, got the #1 ranking in the whole nation, which is a really big deal. So that's a lot of hard work and dedication to the craft that you do. I think personally, we do things a little different than a lot of electrical companies. Obviously everybody can run wire and hang a light switch, but we do a lot of forward thinking stuff, like powering houses. I know that we were the 3rd company in North America to do the bidirectional flow for the F-150 Lightning.
Yep.
And we actually had Ford and New York Times come and do, Ford came out and took pictures of our job. And then the New York Times came and did an interview with us in regards to it. How was that job? How hard is it? And, how has it evolved from that first to what is now? And what is the system that you believe is the best?
Yeah, actually one of the reasons I started here was that was something that was being talked about that I was interested in. There's not a lot of people that really knew anything about it. And so the Ford system has an electric vehicle charger that puts AC power into the car, and then we're able to have a big sitting source of energy in a battery that can pull direct current off of it, basically go through an inverter that can then power a home. And
so you're powering the home with the electric car?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Power goes out, you plug the vehicle in, everything is set in place for it to understand that, and it'll transfer over and start drawing the direct current out, and lights come on in your home.
That's awesome.
And it is awesome.
So it's like having a generator on wheels.
It's a generator you can drive 365 days out of the year.
And have you done, how many projects have you done since then when it comes to bidirectional flow charging?
Absolutely, yeah. So as soon as the Cybertruck hit Tennessee, that one was a little simpler of a system of not needing to do the direct current, and alternating current could be drawn out of the vehicle, which simplified the system itself.
Can you explain the difference? What compared to the Ford, right? Because it was the first one of its kind, right? Ford was the first one of its kind.
Yep.
And the evolution of what Tesla has done with the bidirectional flow, what is different? Physically, on the wall, what exactly does it do different, and how does it simplify the process for the customer?
Yeah, the amount of equipment on the customer's wall for the Ford was kind of extensive for what we were trying to achieve. And there was an inverter, there's a transfer switch involved, there was load management that needed to be included because the vehicle didn't have what it needed to assess all that. And Tesla kind of took that product and put a lot of that equipment on the Cybertruck itself.
Gotcha.
So now we have a transfer switch and load management and everything included in a single gateway system that we can plug in, and then when it backfeeds, it doesn't backfeed the utility system, and anything that we want to come on will come on during that timeline.
So you can, like for example, to install the Ford F-150 bidirectional flow, how long did it take to do that compared to how long does it take to do a Tesla, the Cybertruck?
Yeah, the first Ford Lightning one, we were out there for probably 3 days in total, and we're now down to, some of these installs can take up to 6 hours.
6 hours.
It takes 6
Wow.
6 hours to a day.
Wow. So they're simplifying the process by adding the equipment to the vehicle.
To the vehicle, and I mean, it's just has changed it. We've done dozens of the Cybertruck ones now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talk about generators a little bit. I know we're starting to indulge more into generators. You know, what's the reason for it? How is it beneficial to the customer? Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, I mean, Tennessee, volatile electrical storms are very common out here. We get a lot of stuff that can, high winds to lightning, that can disrupt power to people's homes. And that's one of the biggest things is, what can we do for those times that are kind of frequent in some areas to relieve the stress of those people? A lot of people work from home these days. So batteries, solar, or generator systems can be hooked in to where when that thing goes out, it's automatic that your lights come back on. You live your life the way you want to, do your work as needed, and when utility power comes back on, it all transfers over automatically.
You mentioned solar. How hard is it to do solar here in Tennessee?
Yeah, I mean, solar's huge in a lot of places, and here we have a lot of hydroelectric and very cheap kilowatt pricing for customers, which is awesome. One of the reasons a lot of people flock here. But at the same time, not a lot of advances in the government and the state to try to relieve some of that stress of that equipment and the cost of it, and your ROI kind of goes out a little bit farther, because a lot of places are getting it for, they got a lot more incentives for you to do it, and we don't have any buyback for the state and that kind of stuff.
Currently, we have 30% government incentives for solar, right?
Through TVA? Yep.
For it's through through the government, right? Not TVA. TVA, does TVA do it?
I don't know.
I think it's actually through the government grants that they got going on for. I think for solar they have 30% currently.
30% back on taxes.
Right, it's tax deduction.
You can qualify for.
Right.
Yeah, getting a tax person involved, it would be my recommendation.
Right, for sure. That's above our pay grade.
Yeah, I know there's some, I can kind of point you in the right direction, but yeah, tell you to get a tax guy involved to make sure it gets calculated correctly.
It sounds like to me that the bidirectional flow charger, which from what we understand, this is going to be enabled in a lot of electric vehicles coming this year.
We're hoping.
Which will make it to where if you are buying a car this year, most likely will have the technology already for it to be able to do it, the hardware. This is almost, we're getting to the point where solar is almost the last missing piece for the house to get that power that you need in case of longer interruptions, right? And in case you have, whether you're looking to go off the grid in an area where you don't have stable power, or just looking to kind of save money on electrical costs long term. It sounds like it's all kind of tying in, so it's just naturally going to get to that point.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Tennessee's booming.
Yeah.
So with how many people are coming here, those incentives are probably coming.
Yeah.
And buyback as an option with more stress on the electrical grid, it would be smart to start having more incentives for people to get those types of things.
For sure. What are some of the common signs that, a home might need electrical work? I know it's really hard to know unless your light switch is not working, but what are common signs that are maybe underlying that a lot of people might not know, but that we can educate a little bit to let them know, hey, probably get an electrician out there to make sure nothing serious is going on?
Yeah, first thing would just, what's the age of your home? Start thinking of in that, because code has changed along the way over the years. It changes every 3 years on what's required in a home from electricians to put in. And you have a 50, 70-year-old home, you have a lot of older wiring and older systems that over time everything fails, everything gets old, everything starts failing. So a lot of the things is just looking at grounding in your homes. If you don't see the little round port on an outlet, we're probably not grounded correctly. That's an easy one to spot. Your lights start flickering or being more more noticeable from motor loads and HVAC and stuff kicking on and off, we might be having some bad connections in your electrical panel that we can get into and start checking out.
So if lights flicker or dim when the HVAC equipment comes on, that could be signs that we're having trouble within the electrical system.
Yeah, absolutely. You might have had a smaller system put in, and as time goes by, people start adding, and you might start kind of overdrawing or kind of causing hazards in the home, and we can come and check all that out.
I know you mentioned to me in regards to the importance of like checking smoke detectors. Can you tell us or educate us a little bit in regards to how often do they need to be checked, or how often do they need to be replaced, or exactly how do you go about doing that? And is that something that you do in your electrical safety inspection?
Absolutely.
Okay.
We do safety inspections on homes where we check a lot of the outside panels, your grounding systems, your GFI protection, and one of the checklists is our smoke detectors and carbon monoxide detection.
Okay.
And we don't want anything to be outside of 10 years because as something sits for that long, it just has very sensitive electronics in there for that sensing, and dirt and buildup can happen there, and it just can't really wash it out. So replacing them during that timeline is important. Everybody knows about the little batteries, but they make ones that are 10-year batteries that are built into it that you don't need to change batteries anymore. And getting into there and checking out your bedrooms and outside of your bedrooms and that they're all interconnected is important, because what we're doing is as you're sleeping at night, you never know what's happening, and everything going off at once to alarm you that something is wrong in your home is what we put in those areas.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So to me, from what I heard there, is every 10 years they need to be replaced.
Absolutely.
I feel like that's a common thing that people overlook, but if they understand the importance of it, it sounds like the manufacturers don't cover any more warranties beyond that. Is that right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 10 years is kind of that failure point where you need to get them replaced.
Yeah, you get into insurance companies, there's a lot of stipulations on when those guys come and start assessing what happened with the disaster that happened in your home. And if you don't have proper maintenance and upkeep on your home, it can affect your warranty on your home and your insurance company as well.
Gotcha. Speaking of that, I know we've mentioned in the past that the importance of surge protection, right? I know we do at Airstream do a lot of electric vehicles. We do quite a bit of them. We've ramped up a lot throughout the years, but now we're adding a very big electrical component to the house. Surge is a big thing, especially here with our storms. Can you educate us a little bit more deeper about like what is surge protection, why is it important, and how does it benefit the customer, and is there any kind of benefits in regards to monetary, stuff that they can benefit from if there is any kind of failure that zaps like their TVs or appliances or anything in the house?
Yeah, I mean, surge protection is for overvoltage, which can happen in multiple ways. We could have a lightning strike that we're not talking about hitting really close to you. It could happen a mile down the road that just conducts energy onto power lines. Now we have an overvoltage that's trying to make its way through the system, which you're in line in that system. So surge protection goes in line directly into your main electrical panel, and it is a path of least resistance to put it back in the system or put it to ground and get rid of that overvoltage from making it through what we call the branch circuits, which is just everything in your home. Everybody knows of computers and surge protection and that thing you plug in, but that means it made it all the way to that device to protect this device. Now we're putting something at the main to stop it from ever making it in. And these days everything is sensitive electronics. TVs, refrigerators, HVAC units have much more sensitive and electronics in them. So we want to stop it at the main source. And along with the different types of products that are available through manufacturers, there's warranties because they believe in their product so much that can help you if something were to happen when this was installed correctly by a certified electrician and you have the proof of purchase of that, and you have something happen in your home and you have an insurance and a claim that's being brought forth. You come in, they look at everything, and they can give you a lot of money to help you out because their product might not have done what it was designed to do.
What's a lot of money, Jared? Because that can fluctuate for different people. I mean,
Yeah.
like your premium product, what's typically the payout on something like that in case if there is failure from the surge not protecting?
Yeah, there's products that are just in there that aren't going to give you a lot of warranty, all the way up to our main one, which is a lifetime $75,000 warranty through an Eaton Ultra surge protection product.
So up to $75,000?
$75,000.
That's pretty big.
That's a lot of that's a lot of TVs.
Yeah, that's a lot of TVs. And I mean, again, with EVs and evolution of technology, we're getting more and more technology in the house. So it's important. As a matter of fact, I believe it's in the newer code, right?
Was that?
Is it in the newer code book where surge protection needs to be added into a house?
Yeah,
Okay.
2020, it became that any new house that's built, you're supposed to be putting surge protectors in there.
Okay.
It's deemed by the NEC that surge protection is warranted for electricians to put in to protect everything that's going in the homes.
Okay. You got a really cool product in your department that I like a lot. I personally have in my house. It's the gemstone lighting.
I got them too.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about gemstone so that way people can get to know a little bit of what it does, how it's different from the other product, because you and I know there's other products. Trim light is kind of the big one.
Yeah.
Is there another one that...
There's jellyfish. There's a few different names of different things. There was a Wago that came out, and just they all have a product. There's DIY systems that...
The Govies, right? The Govies of the world.
Yeah, and then there's different products that they're coming. It's a great product basically that came out, and then there's a lot of people trying to replicate that
for sure
at cheaper.
Now, obviously at Airstream we don't go for cheap because cheap isn't always good and good isn't cheap. We always go for quality, something that's going to be usable for long term, something that's going to last a long time, and there's going to be something that we can sign off in saying that we are creating a higher standard by providing this product. So through that process, we landed on the gemstone product itself. But can you tell us a little bit of what separates the gemstone light compared to like the biggest competitor, which is the trim light?
Yeah, I mean lumens. Lumens is a common phrase that's basically the brightness. So we have a huge lumen count on gemstones compared to a lot of the competitors. The ease of installation as far as if something were to fail along the way, replacing it, a lot of products that you got to do, there's a lot more invasive work that needs to be done once something fails in other systems. This one is designed to where once it's installed, it's the maintenance and upkeep on it is just very well thought out.
Gotcha.
Gemstones have an app that goes to your phone, and it's architectural lighting along with holiday lighting, which can be all the year round. Mine come on every day. I have it set on a timer, and it lights up the whole outside parking area of my house. So me and my wife have light every time we go to our vehicles, and it's thoughtless. It comes on about 45 minutes after I leave the house, it turns off.
And plus, you kind of are like the coolest house on the block because any holiday you're throwing it on.
Any holiday. My son just graduated high school, and when we pulled in from the graduation, I had graduation lights just flying around for everybody to look at.
That's cool.
It's just one of those things that any little event, you go to the lights. The Olympics were a couple of years ago, and I had the Olympics colors flying around the house.
That's awesome.
It's anything you can think of.
The main thing that I like about it is, a lot of the big competitors, they don't have warm white. So they're literally, they can only use it on the holidays without making the house look strange or weird.
Yeah.
To have, Christmas lights on in the middle of just a regular day. But by having the warm white, we can do architectural lighting, which makes the house shine nice.
Exactly.
Just gives it basically our customers, and that's the main reason why we decided on the gemstone lighting is to give our customers that usability of 100% time of the year opposed to 20% time of the year.
Yeah.
The trim light product and competitors like that are less in price, but they're using it 20% time of the year. To me, that's a big investment for something you can't use.
Yeah. And the gemstone app itself is constantly being upgraded and improved to where there's more and more holidays being included, more and more schemes being included, fireworks setting that's being included, and they're constantly trying to improve an already great product all the time as well. And
it's like during the day, it's hard to see because the color matches, right? You guys, what do you guys do on the process when you're giving an estimate for that?
Yeah, the lights are put into a hat track, which is a sheet metal form track that's already designed, and actually we go out and color match your house, and then we can send it off to Gemstone, and they will give us the track in the size we need at the color we want, and they have hundreds of colors that they can match. And it's once it's installed and you kind of get used to not staring at it all the time, it just becomes part of the house until it turns on.
Now I know we talked about generators for powering a house. We talked about bidirectional flow, someone that's got a EV that can now power a house, which sounds very futuristic. I know there's other things that we're doing like Tesla Powerwalls. Explain that, and is that the same as a generator in the car powering? It's just mounted to the house. Is that basically what it is?
Yes,
Okay.
it's a generator is the same thing of converting energy to your home. It's stored energy, and it's waiting for a situation where it can monitor utility power going out, and then we can start using that and stored energy to turn the lights on in your home.
That's awesome. One of the things that intrigued me the most about like a Powerwall product is the ability within milliseconds for the power to switch.
Yeah.
So nothing in your house, has to reset the clocks where it's flashing 12.
Yeah.
Where generators takes typically how long for it to kick in?
We usually want to see it kick over within 7 seconds.
Within 7 seconds.
And
okay.
Powerwalls can be instantaneous. If you have it set up where it's automatic, you might not even quite see the lights dim.
You never even know it happened.
You never even know. It's incredible.
I think about it too, because it's like, it'd be nice in case of, a big event or, where you need power, nobody has power, right? That you have power. But I almost feel like you're also a sitting duck because everybody else is like, I don't have power and that house has power. We're going to go to their house.
Yeah. I mean,
so it's a double-edged sword.
Yep. I live in an area that, has generators around it. And when my lights go out, I kind of stick my head out the window to listen for those generators to know it's not just us that went out.
Yeah.
But if they had Powerwalls, I might be knocking on their door and seeing what's going on.
We might have to get a Powerwall installed at Jared's house.
I'm working on it.
Walk me through so a technician gets a call out, right? Goes to a house, walk me through the experience of the customer, what they can expect from the electrician from A to Z.
Yeah, I mean, the company as designed by you is just from the phone call that they make. Mm-hmm. They have an issue, they call us, they want an estimate for something, or they have an electrical issue in their home. The dispatch gets a hold of them, takes all their information down, gets everything to us. We have a House Call Pro product that we use that gets notified right to our phone. Mm-hmm. All the information that they've collected, we hit on the way. Customer gets notified with a little bio of our technician, who they are, some of their interests, picture of them, so they know who's coming to their door. And they know exactly the time because they're going to have a GPS location to that van after they click that button. All the way to the door. Nice to meet you. How you doing? What can I do to help you? Then our best thing is go in with everything we got and quickly and efficiently with a stocked van, go through your issues and try to get you taken care of as fast as possible. That's
awesome. That's great. You've been here for a while now with us, Jared. What is it that you like about Airstream? Not maybe, and this can be, just how everyday work environment, or even just, things that we do beyond that. But what is it that you enjoy working here, that you choose this to still be your home?
Yeah, I've worked a lot of places from different states. California was where I started. I had a long time in Texas, and now here in Tennessee with you guys. And along that way, I've worked for some of the biggest contractors in the world. I actually worked for a company that was in the top 10 of electrical contractors in the world. And great opportunities and great experiences, but along the way, kind of here, family owned, smaller company, but doing big things. That's really interesting to me, the closeness of us and the connections that you make here. And it's, we're here a lot.
Yeah.
And basically, it's your family away from your family. And that's what is just one of the coolest things about being here, that is, you look forward to coming to work. You're going to have a lot of struggles and a lot of things that got to get figured out, but along the way, you got a lot of support to get you through it. And then in between, we have a lot of fun too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give us 3 top fun things that you've done so far here.
3 top fun things. I mean, interesting or fun is different. I mean, the Ford bidirectional was, again, as an electrician,
What about the mountain?
The Gatlinburg
Yeah.
experience we had, where all the managers and everybody went out and we stayed overnight in Gatlinburg, and there was a pool in the house. I mean, it was a good time.
And then we had a bear break into our car.
Yeah, which was crazy. You hear of Gatlinburg and the bears, but this one knew how to open a van door and get into whatever leftovers we had left in there. And a bunch of guys experiencing a bear rummaging around the van.
Yeah,
was interesting.
So that's one. What else? Give me another one.
We have a lot of Christmas parties this year. We have a year party for the anniversary every year, and then you just do fight parties, and we do a Cinco de Mayo, and there's just it's constantly something like that. Just there's an event. Let's get everybody together, and let's just have a good time.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we want to try to make it very family oriented. You know, family comes first at the end of the day, Jared. You know, you know how I feel in regards to that. So, you know, for work will always be here, and your work family will always be there. But if your work family is going to be there for you, they should be there to support you and your family and ventures. So, to me, that's big. I would never change or compromise that for anybody. I wouldn't expect anybody else either. You know, we can work hard and we can play hard too. I think there's a good healthy balance in that. So, you know, it's nice to be able to, you know, offer that environment to our employees, and, you know, through the process we have a lot of fun. You know, yeah, like you mentioned, there's going to be tough times, but at the end of the day, you know, our goal is to make the best experience for the customer and to create a higher standard for home services. So I think we're doing a pretty good job of that, and, you know, with the collaboration of our managers. For me, it's important for our customers to get to, you know our managers. So it's nice for you to be able to do these, you know, do this interview. I know it's very spontaneous for you, and it's not something that you're really comfortable doing, and it's not something we've done before. But I think overall, you did a great job. What is it that you kind of look forward in the future with Airstream, or what you're doing? What is it that's kind of that you like to see happen or pan out within the next, 3 years, or things that that you're excited about?
Yeah, I mean, the company as a whole is why we're here. We built the building we're in right now, and literally being able to be a part of a company that's expanding that quickly. I've been here 3 years. We built a giant building. We moved locations, and everything that you're doing with just the media end of it and marketing and everything we're trying to do to just press the envelope and be at the front edge of whatever technology is coming out that we can offer our customers just keeps you on your toes.
Yeah.
And it's been awesome the whole time I've been here.
Well, to be honest, Jared, it's been a pleasure to work alongside with you.
Thank you.
I've loved to see you, the way that you've grown even from when you first came here. I mean, you're totally different. You've soaked in the resi side, the residential side very well. You've adapted very well. So your leadership is great, is phenomenal. You're a perfect role for the position. But just to have seen you grown from where you were being focused on the commercial side, and now focus on, creating a higher standard for home services, just speaks a lot, man. I mean, you're quick to change in directions. You're very easy to, help guide into the new direction of what we're trying to do for Airstream. Obviously, always all for the positive. But just your flexibility and your ability of skill level that you have with what you do, man, it's an honor to work along with you, and I couldn't imagine another person to be running the department. So we're very thankful to have you, man, and I appreciate you being here with Airstream, man.
Thank you so much.
We appreciate you guys joining us. We're trying to get you guys to understand who we are as a company, get to know the department managers, and just learn a little bit more about Airstream. At the end of the day, we're very thankful for your support. Without you, we can't be who we are. We're a small family business, and our goal is to keep it that way. We develop processes and procedures in place to help us prevent from losing control or losing who we are as identity with Airstream, and that's very important value that we have, and we're going to continue to go with. But we're thankful to have your guys' support. And we are thankful for all the things that we're about to do this year. We're doing a lot of cool stuff with the department, so we'll be interviewing more of the department leaders too as well, so that way you get to know us a little more. But thank you for supporting us and our family small business. My name is Gus from Airstream. Again, Jared, our department manager, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.